Welcome back, Internet. Selfish here with Retrospect. Today we're going to take a look at the Miyoo Mini Flip, and we're going to do some modifications to it with some firmware and some button upgrades. Make it look a little fancier and run a little differently. Let's take a look. Before we get going, I want to give a quick shout out to MechDIY for providing the software and the accessories we're going to be using in this video, as well as my new favorite Etsy shop to get buttons. I get almost all of my buttons made there on Etsy. They made the buttons for this device. Links for both will be down in my thingamabob. Take a look, help support. All right, let's get into this. First thing we're going to have to do is power this bad boy down. Let's go under the setting, power options, she'll shut down. I'm sure you already know how to do that if you already have one of these. If not, that's how you do it. We need to take these 4 screws off the back. Yep, there's only 4 that hold this thing together. No push pins or anything like that either, just these 4 screws, and the back pretty much just falls right off, I learned. This is actually the first time I'm pulling this thing apart, so I'm doing it for this video, so good times. There is a cable in here that you have to be pretty careful with. It is the battery power cable, and just make sure you don't break it. You can kind of see it there. That little red and black cable, you just got to pull on it, get it out. I happen to have long fingernails right now, at least for me, and so it was actually pretty easy to pull that out just using my fingernails, but if you don't, just use the tweezers. Now, I noticed that there's no screws holding the board in, but it was hard to get in or out, really. And what's going on here is that the PCB is actually held in kind of by pressure around those plastic poles there that hold the screws for when you screw the back in. Now, we are going to have a ribbon cable here. This is going to be for the display. I unplugged it. You don't have to. I think it's easier if you do. A little pain in the butt, though, to put back in, to be honest with you. Here we go. Here's the battery. Figure I'd show you that it's in there. It's a 2500 milliamp battery. And then we're going to start pulling this thing apart. So first thing we're going to do is the D-pad. You're going to notice I'm going to speed some parts up here just because they're repetitive, but it's the same concept all the way across. Also, I had to do a little cut. Apparently, I decided to move my mat back a little bit, and that was enough for me to get my hat in it. So I know for future, but for this one here, my hat's in the video, and I don't have time to redo it. Plus, it's already done, so why would we do that? So we're going to do that first start off with the A button, and then we're just going to go around the horn here and replace all these buttons. Now, there are little notches on the buttons, which do make them sit correctly. And then you just put on the membrane on the back. Now we're going to do these little menu buttons here. This thing was a pain in my butt. It took me forever. What you'll notice is the top is thinner. There's posts on it. The top is thinner and the bottom is thicker. It's hard to explain, but you'll understand what I'm saying right when you take a look at it. But it took me a minute to figure it out because they are very similar, but one side is thicker than the other. You can kind of see it even from afar here where the bottom is thicker as far as that post coming straight down versus the top. And then we just got to put these menu buttons in. These things are just for kind of freeballing it in here, the start and select. Now, when putting this back on, it is kind of a pain to get that ribbon cable in there, but if you use the tweezers, it'll make it a lot easier than not. I'm sure you could do it without. Just make sure that you get it pushed in all the way up to the white line and then clamp her shut. Now we just got to push this thing back in. And again, just like taking it out, where I had to kind of pry it out, it's kind of a pain to get back in, but just keep moving around the device and eventually it will fall into place. Now I'm just putting on the power button. One thing I did notice from these buttons that I got, and this Etsy shop does a great job, but one part of getting custom buttons is sometimes you gotta do a little sanding or something. I realized I didn't have any sandpaper, so I just kind of scraped off a little bit of this little post that goes in there, which separates the power and the reset button. And it was just a touch. It just had like a little burr on it, and I got that burr out, and then I was able to put the power and reset button, as you can see. Didn't have any issues over here with the volume side and everything. I kind of tested it to make sure that they were pushing the buttons, and they did. Now with these, there's a rubber membrane that's actually behind the triggers and bumpers from the factory, and you're going to need to reuse that membrane. So I just kind of lined everything up with how they were going to be when I was done, and then I just did them one button at a time, so I knew they were facing the right direction, and everything kind of went together the right way. It's not the way you have to do it, but to me it just seemed to make the most sense, and it really didn't take me but a few seconds to put these together. And there's a little post on the back that does push into that membrane, and it's pretty evident when you see it. You'll know exactly what to do. And then we're just going to throw these shoulders and triggers in. And they do just slot right in. Even when you put the case on, the back cover, when you put the back cover on, that also slots in with these buttons. So just make sure everything's slotted correctly, otherwise the triggers aren't going to work correctly. So I just tested to make sure everything was working, everything was lined up. Then we had to get this this cable for the battery plugged back in. Unfortunately, you can't see it on the camera, but you can see here that it is plugged in. And then we have to start kind of piecing the back together. And that's mostly just getting those bumpers and shoulders lined up. And everything else kind of fell into place for me. I went around to make sure there's no seams. And again, we have these 4 screws. And I have turbo hands when it comes to screwing. I've got turbo hands when it comes to putting plates back onto handhelds. There you go. All right, now we have our Miyoo Mini Flip, and we have our buttons done. They look absolutely beautiful. They really did a good job making these, and they look good all the way around. It's kind of cool. You even get kind of a glow here from the LEDs on the power button, which is neat. But everything works good, feels good, looks good from the outside too. Really, really happy with this. So now we're going to try out this custom firmware from MechDIY and Surwish. I'm hoping I grab the right memory card because I have multiple memory cards here for different devices still in the packaging that I need to look at. So hopefully this is the correct one. We should see a setup menu if this is the right memory card. There we go. So I was running a version of Onion OS that I put on here myself. Now we're going to get a version of Onion OS from our friends over at MechDIY. This is on a Surwish card, so you know that the games are also going to be included on here. And they do some spectacular libraries through Surwish. I've been impressed by all the libraries they've done thus far. And they do scrape some box art, stuff like that for you. So it really is completely set up for you out of the box. This already feels a little different than how I had Onion set up before. So, okay, so we have more emulators on here than we did with the original Onion. Now, you can add those, but they've already put them on here for you, which is really fantastic. Now that we have the card installed, let's just go over a couple of things here for you. Just some quick tips and tricks with Onion OS here. That's going to be on this card. You do have a favorites menu where you can put your favorites. You have your recents, which will show your recent games that you just played. You do have a games menu here. This will get you into all of your different games and all your different systems that are on the card. As I said before, I believe that this will probably be scraped. They usually are with the Surwish cards, and this one is no different. So it's scraped up in here. Maybe a couple of them are missing, but for the most part, they're scraped. Likely whatever they could find on Screen Scraper. So you do have access to that. Yeah, it doesn't matter what system I choose. So you'll be able to see the cover art for those games that you do want to play. They do include a lot of systems here, which is pretty awesome. And they do have some ports, like the Cowabunga Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's a port that's on here. Again, this is a Miyoo Mini Flip, so it does run off the original V4 internal. So really, well, plus Wi-Fi, I guess. You know, it's not the biggest powerhouse out there, but you are able to run some pretty good heavy-hitting systems on here. And as you can see here going through, you're getting PlayStation 1. You're getting most of the Sega systems. You even have access to Pico. Now, Pico 8 is not challenging to use, but because we are using custom firmware, you actually are able to use Pico, the Pico 8 software here. So, and because it's on here, you can actually use the true Pico core. So you're going to get that virtual gaming experience. Now, MechDIY did send me a couple other fun accessories. So we do have a charging stand for the Miyoo. And all you have to do is put this little magnet in here in the bottom. And now you have a charging dock. There is also a magnetic piece that goes on the back here. A cable. It's just plugged in my wall right now. So that'll pop right on there. And that makes it easy for you to move around and stuff. And if you want to use a regular USB, you can do that as well. But the one that they have with it works fairly well. And there you go. So we do have access to all of that. One thing that is cool about the Miyoo software is that sleep mode seems to be working now with a flip close. Or at least it's at least turning off the screen, which is a step in the right direction. Now, if when you're at home, you think that this is a little bit uncomfortable to game with, because it is such a small handheld, you do have the option to get one of these cool, handy-dandy, whatchamacallit, grips for it. What's really cool about this grip that they sent me here from MechDIY, which I've never seen before, is there's actually button extensions for all of the buttons. So here's your volume buttons and your power button, and these little rubber things actually hit the buttons for you. Look at that. I don't know if they're rubber. They seem like they're rubber. Maybe they're plastic, but they actually push the buttons for you, so you don't have to take it out of the hand grip in order to access that. I have never seen that before, and this is a very, very comfortable hand grip to use. It actually does make the Miyoo a lot more comfortable. I'd say for around home, I'm not going to carry this hand grip with me because I keep the Miyoo Mini Flip in my pocket. But if and when I'm playing this at home, I found that this grip has actually been extremely comfortable for that. I picked this game because sometimes it's a little bit harder on a smaller handheld. You kind of lose that stability and that control. And I'm not losing any of that here. It doesn't make my driving much better because I suck at it, but I don't feel like I'm kind of like losing the handheld in my hands. As they tried to shift, this is holding everything in place. So I am really, really enjoying this grip, and I have been since they sent it to me. So, like I said, I don't typically carry it with me when I'm out of the house, but if I come home and I want to keep playing a game or something like that, I will definitely throw this grip on, and it vastly improves my experience. Now, for a lot of people, they'll carry these with them everywhere. That's just not, for this particular grip, that's not what I'm doing, because I like to keep this handheld as small as possible for my pocket and really have it be a true EDC device. But that just gives you a little demonstration of how well that works. Now, another thing too is if you are using the charging thing, unfortunately, you do have to pull the hand grip off in order to use it. I know they do make hand grips out there that do both, but that's usually when they come up from the bottom. And because the charging is on top here, you just need to pop it right in. Not a big deal, but this thing works really good. And I do use this charging dock too. I love docking my handheld, so this definitely makes that a little bit better. So do a little accessorizing, obviously do a little customization with the buttons and what have not. Get some custom firmware, and this thing will go a long ways. The Miyoo Mini Flip is already pretty amazing to begin with, but it can only get better. Once again, thank you to MechDIY for this SD card with Onion OS on it and a good Surwish build of all the games that I'm ever going to want to play. Way more than I'm ever going to want to play. What am I talking about? As well as the accessories I provided for this video, and also my new favorite button, Etsy shop. Links for both down below. Other than that, please like this video, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, because sharing is caring. It also helps grow the channel. And then once you're done with all that, check out one of these videos here at the end that YouTube chose for you. They think you're going to like it based off your algorithm, and I am not going to disagree with them. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.